Good morning, me people. Good morning, me people. How you doing? Are we all okay? Yeah, it's, of course, Tuesday the 12th today, 12th of May, 2000, and of course, 26, just out the corner of my eye there, I can see a chicken running around the veranda. Very interesting chicken. Anyway, very interesting. So, excuse me, what do we got for you today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, Tuesday, so not really a massive amount of stuff happening, but anyway, first of all, we got, let's just have a quick hello to everybody before we start. Jan H. Glenn's in, Grad is in, Sue's in, Jan Lace is in, Shepherd's in, Christina's in, Christine Owens in, Sunara's in, Nina's in, Turner's in, Nina is in, Turner's in, Nina Turner is in, Sharon Young's in, Phil Nicholas is in, The New Life is in, Jason Thomas is joining us as well. So good morning, everyone. Hope we're all okay. So first of all, we have the FBI and the ICE agents apparently have raided a Texas military base. 60 soldiers arrested, 17.9 tons of fentanyl seized, apparently. Now, someone said to me, is this really real, Mark? Is this really real? The military are dealing drugs? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? But here's the thing. If you've been watching films like Born Identity, Deep State, all those types of things, okay, London Has Fallen, what else is there's loads of them. But they're all based on one thing, and they're all based on military contractors that are basically out to, of course, shaft the people. And it's always drugs, money, some kind of a weapon that's been made or whatever. But the theme of it is always the same. It's always the military, okay, or should we say ex-military contractors that are doing the deeds. So is this story true? More than likely. Based on the stories that are coming out of, Hollywood, etc., etc. Now, of course, Starmer is doing some pathetic speeches, absolutely pathetic, begging for his life, of course. In, of course, this political theatre. And as I discussed with someone earlier, it is just a continuous loop of bullshit. An absolute continuous loop of bullshit. So, very, very interesting. Okay, so going back to that military thing, of course, we have, as we well know, the CIA are, of course, the main sort of dealers, so to speak. The Royals are all involved in it as well. It's just, it's a known fact that the Royals were dealing in opium and have done for hundreds of years. It's not rocket science, that in. Everybody knows that. So for these people to deny it, utter bullshit. What else have we got? Now, someone said to me the other day, when is the EBS going off? I don't fucking know, so don't even ask me. And anybody that thinks that they know that the EBS is going off on July the 6th at 6 a.m. is a fucking liar, because nobody knows. Now, when the EBS goes off, the EBS will go off. When you see it on your phone, you'll see it on your phone. That's it. That's all the advice I can give you. Now, meanwhile, of course, Iran's sent Donald Trump the golden finger. Remember, it was a present with this image in the inside the box, a golden finger. That was in response to the peace deal, apparently. Now, Donald Trump responded. Now, apparently, Donald Trump has contacted Egypt, and now Donald wants to put a golden statue on the top of every pyramid in Egypt, including the big one. That's a very interesting one, isn't it? And also, he wants to have a golden statue of himself in the Vatican, and also at Mecca. Brilliant. Fucking great idea, that is. I love it. Now, meanwhile, of course, crop circles are popping up. And, of course, we are apparently getting certain messages from beyond the universe, so to speak. If you don't believe that there is beyond the universe, well, that's entirely up to you. I just find it really interesting. Anyway, the latest one looked to me like it was some kind of a third eye opening, a pineal gland opening, etc., which links us to the old DNA stuff going on. Remember that you are not functioning at the moment with proper DNA activation. When you are, you will be, of course, be able to do some serious shit. So we'll wait and see. Now, remember the weekly goal today. The weekly goal is, of course, to survive until Friday. That is, of course, the weekly goal for today, ladies and gentlemen. So good luck and survive till Friday. Now, meanwhile, of course, the United Arab Emirates have gone and left OPEC. Fucking what? Gone and left OPEC after all these years? Why would they do that? Well, it's very simple. The United Arab Emirates, when you look at the map, they have a pipeline, I think it's about 1,500 miles long, that runs from the left-hand side of the United Arab Emirates to the right-hand side of the United Arab Emirates. And it just happens to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. Well, what could possibly go wrong there? Very interesting. Now, what this will allow to do, this will allow the United Arab Emirates to basically not only sell oil, but they will be able to produce oil and they will be able to sell unlimited amounts. And unlimited amounts of oil, of course, mean that the fuel prices will come down. Also, as well, fuel will be traded around the world, not in the petrodollar. No, it will be traded for the first time in different denominations. Very interesting, that one. Now, remember that the petrodollar has been the sort of financial stable of the world in regards to the Federal Reserve. Iran, of course, we're talking about the control by the British of course, of the oil, etc., keeping the prices high, you know what, you know the drill. So this seems to be a very interesting move. And of course, it's all linked to the BRICS nations. It's all linked to the gold. It's all linked to the silver. Luckily, I had the opportunity to buy a few £1,000s worth of silver a couple of years ago, and that seems to be going to be a very healthy investment. Not that I'm really bothered, but of course, unfortunately, as you may or may not have found out, we do need a little bit of money to survive in this very chaotic world. And it appears to me that when we watch the mainstream TV or whatever, this cycle just seems to continue to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And the only real way that we can break this cycle really is to bring in the military and to have some kind of a military takeover of the governments around the world until such times as we can break ourselves free from this perpetual cycle that we find ourselves in. First of all, though, we need to recognise the cycle, and we need to call the cycle out for what the actual cycle is, which is utter bullshit. So there you go. King's speech as well. Not quite sure when the King's speech is. Not really bothered all that much, really, but anyway, not to worry. Now, the Federal Reserve is run by a guy at the moment called Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell has been asked to leave. Unfortunately, Jerome refuses to leave because, of course, that means that the Federal Reserve are going to crash. There you go. So the Senate have advanced a guy called Kevin Warsh to become chairman of the Federal Reserve, which will, of course, mean that the Fed is dead. Very interesting as we move forward on that one. Now, meanwhile, in Somerset, which is a place that I've recently visited, apparently a large pothole appeared somewhere in Somerset, not quite sure where. Anyway, a company called Stabilise Pavements. Yes, that's the company, Stabilise Pavements, went out to fix the said sinkhole or pothole or whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, the lorry got stuck in the pothole. The lorry had to be abandoned until such times it could be craned out of the hole. Fucking brilliant. Now, if Jason is listening, or anybody else is listening for that matter, maybe we could do a gematria on Stabilise Pavements. I'm sure that's got something to do with something. It's just one of them freaky headlines that makes you look at it. Anyway, the other thing is Gordon Ramsay. Now, Gordon Ramsay has based his reputation on, of course, shutting down very bad restaurants, including ones that are basically unhygienic, so to speak. So it will be no surprise to you that Gordon Ramsay has had his Kensington High Street establishment closed due to the fact, now you're going to absolutely like wet yourselves over this one. He's had the establishment closed due to health reasons, okay? What could so I want you to think about the clientele that go. I want you to think about the mindset of the clientele that go, okay? And apparently customers, dogs, cats and animals have been defecating and urinating in the reception area of Gordon Ramsay's Kensington High Street restaurant. And that's why it's been shut down. Now, this is actually quite an interesting one because, first of all, it leads to some very interesting questions. One of the most important questions is that why would people take their dog or their cat or another form of an animal to a restaurant to eat? Now, I don't know about you, but that's just as weird as LGBTQ plus 1756432. Know what I'm saying? Anyway, now also as well, a lady called Tulsi Gabbard, interestingly, an investigator in America, very high up, very knowledgeable, and also very clever. She just happens to be now launching an investigation into Ukrainian biolabs. Fucking hell, what did we tell you 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? We told you the Ukrainians had got bioweapons. Everybody says biolabs. Everybody said it was a fucking conspiracy theory. Here we have a sitting lady senator actually launching an investigation into Ukrainian bioweapons labs. The reason that they're there is because they managed to get Ukraine is a corrupt country, and they managed to get out of all the rules and regulations that are stipulated in their own countries. Very interesting. Why do you think Porton Down in England exists? Well, that's clearly because the royal protocol basically overrides all the normal protocols. Know what I mean? Just like it does in Iran. and everywhere else around the world. So there you go. We've now got a proper investigation into the biolabs in the Ukraine. As you may or may not know, I think there was somewhere in the region of 45. That's an interesting number, isn't it? 45, 46. And, of course, they are probably more than likely linked to Joe Biden. In fact, I know that they are, because, of course, we have the, remember the Burishma company? This, of course, was a Ukrainian company, and Hunter Biden just happened to be sat on the board of Burishma. Unfortunately, Hunter Biden had no real experience in the Burishma company and what they were doing. Unfortunately, he happened to be getting paid rather a shed load of money for knowing fuck all, which is actually quite an interesting thing, because it seems to me that the majority of Westminster politicians are getting paid an awful lot of money to know fuck all, which is actually quite an interesting way to earn money, don't you think? I mean, if it was me personally and I didn't know fuck all, then I wouldn't get paid to put pagodas up and landscaping and gardening and trees to be taken down safely, etc., etc. So, unfortunately, I'm not overly rich, which is quite an interesting scenario when, of course, hard-working men and women across the world are basically penalised for knowing lots of shit, and yet if you don't know fuck all about your job, you get paid a lot of money. Now, that leads us smartly on to, of course, money laundering at its finest. Oh, yes. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get myself off. We've got things to do today. And it looks like the rain has calmed down a bit, which is quite an interesting one. So it is a bit cool up in the northeast of England today, but that's not unusual. Apparently today is going to be the start of a whiteout. Now apparently we're having wintry conditions for the next week or so. 10 feet of snow, ice on the ground. The ground will be thawed to somewhere in the region of 8 feet. It's going to be pretty cold. Pipes are going to burst. And you're going to need a lot of cladding. Very interesting. Anyway, we'll see you all again soon. I'll try and do a live for you tonight if I can think of anything to do, or even if I find anything interesting, because at the moment it's getting a little bit boring. You know, the same things are happening, the same loops occurring. We're still waiting for the Epstein files. We're still waiting for the Biden files. We're still waiting for the truth on the Ukrainian biolabs. Still waiting for everything, actually. The files of JFK have still not come out yet. And it really does make you wonder, doesn't it, really? Who actually is in charge of all this shit? Anyway, on that note, there happens to be a good gang working in the background. Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more. There you go. See you soon. Cheers, bye.